Angelo is the newest epic brawler coming to the game, and he is the second member of the Swampy Love Tunnel trio along with Willow. He's half mosquito and half Cupid, and he actually lives in the Swampy Love Tunnel. He flies around and shoots arrows, so he's sort of like Cupid of the swamp. However, instead of getting brawlers to fall in love, he spreads gossip around to get them to fight each other. You could say he loves the drama.
Oh, it's all love. Hush mode. Getting stomped in the swamp.
Stick around to the end of the video for all of his voice lines and pins. Angelo's main attack is Take Aim. He draws back his bow and fires a single arrow. What makes his attack interesting is that depending on how long you aim the attack, Angelo draws his bow back further and further and further to increase his arrow's power. Now, he doesn't have like an ammo bar with multiple ammo, right? He fires one projectile at a time, very similar to B, but he does have a bar that fills up the longer you hold his attack to indicate how strong the attack will be. Keep in mind that while he's holding this down, just like Frank, he cannot heal. Angelo's super is Welcome to the Swamp. Angelo creates a poison cloud around him that deals damage to enemies every second they're inside of its radius, and it stays on the map for 8 whole seconds. That is a lot of map control. Now, additionally, while Angelo is inside the cloud, all of his arrows become poisoned so that each one will deal some extra damage over time to their targets. Now, just like his charged shot, the extra poison damage is also determined by how full his bar is when he fires the arrow. So a very little charged arrow will deal a little bit of damage, and a max charged arrow will deal maximum poison damage. Please note that you will not get the extra poison damage if you start charging the arrow inside the cloud and then leave it before the arrow is fired. You have to fire it while inside the poison. Also, keep in mind that he's not able to throw his super like Spike could. It always lands exactly where he's standing, like Jackie's super would. Angelo's first gadget is Stinging Flight. When this gadget is activated, Angelo leaps into the air and flutters his wings to stay in the air for 1 second. Now, this gadget's very similar to Brock's Rocket Laces gadget or Eve's Gotta Go gadget, since he can't be hit while he's using it, and he can use it to hop over walls. Now, this gadget also deals 650 damage to all enemy targets that are close to him right when the gadget is activated. Angelo's second gadget is Master Fletcher. When this gadget is activated, Angelo's next arrow will pierce through everything. That includes walls, brawlers, pets, and turrets. To my knowledge, this is the exact same gadget as Mandy's Cookie Crumbs gadget. Angelo's first star power is Empower. This star power heals Angelo for 600 health for every second he remains inside the poison cloud. So with 8 seconds, that's potentially 4,800 recovered health. This star power does not work for his teammates. Angelo is the only one that can be healed by this star power. Now, it's also important to know that while the damage from multiple poison clouds does stack, the healing from multiple poison clouds does not, which is kind of interesting. In other words, if you have 2 supers on top of each other, enemies will take double the damage, but Angelo will not heal twice as fast. Angelo's second star power is Flow. Now, before I can explain this star power, I need to mention the fact that Angelo is the second brawler in the game that can hover over water just like Eve. And with this star power equipped, Angelo gains a 25% movement speed buff as long as he's hovering above water. This speed buff lasts for a moment once you're off the water as well, but not very long. So this star power is going to be totally useless on sudden maps, but a 25% movement speed is honestly kind of insane, so I do think it'll be used plenty. Now we're going to put Angelo through the Olympic tests to compare him against every other brawler in the game, starting off with his worst tests and working our way up to his best. And we'll talk about how strong I think he's going to be in each mode. First up is the super range test. Angelo's super has a 2-tile radius and he can't throw it, so it gets total distance of 2 tiles, which puts him in 74th place. The only 2 brawlers who have worse supers don't deal any damage and have no range at all. Next is the 1 second DPS test. Angelo can't use his super while he's charging his main attack, so he has to fire a fully charged arrow and then drop his super. He only has a little bit of time left to shoot 1 more arrow before his second is up, so he deals 6,632 damage and gets 54th place out of the 77 brawlers in the game. Next is the supercharge test. Angelo's main attack changes his super based on how much damage it deals, and a fully charged arrow charges over half of his super. So he's able to fully charge his super with 1 more arrow that isn't even fully charged. It takes him 2.8 seconds for him to charge up his super, which ties him with Colette for 51st place and suggests his super is not going to be charged up very frequently. Next, we have the box test. It's pretty much impossible to perfectly do this test because it would require perfect charging his attack to deal exactly half of the box's health. I did get as close as I could and use his gadget to take out the last 3 big groups of boxes before one-shotting the last box. Angelo completes the box test in 50.7 seconds and ties with Pearl for 48th place. He's not the best at ramping up damage, but he's going to be okay. Up next is the assassin test. So in this test, he has 3 seconds to deal as much damage as possible, and Angelo barely has enough time to release his first fully charged attack and a fully charged second one. He also gets a few ticks of damage from his super, but doesn't have any time to get extra poison damage from his fully charged shot. Angelo deals 11,800 damage, which puts him in 48th place and suggests he's not going to be the best at like quick burst assassination, but with the poison, he might be able to still take out some targets even with just one hit. Next is the swarm test. Angelo takes out the first row of bots with his gadget, and by the time his gadget recharges, his supers are able to take out the rest of the bots. So Angelo defeats the swarm in 5.6 seconds and gets 41st place. Up next, we have the area test. Angelo's attack breaks 2 rows of 10 skulls, and his super breaks 21 skulls. Then we have his gadget, which actually covers the same area as his super, and that comes to a total of 62 skulls, and he gets 39th place. And the rest of these tests are tests where Angelo is better than half of the brawlers in the game, and this is where he really thrives. Up next, we have the survival test. Angelo has 6,000 total health, which is less than half of the brawlers in the game, so he's not very tanky. Brawlers aren't allowed to dodge shots for this test, so he can't use his gadget to like hover in the air and be missed a couple times or something like that. However, he does get a few extra seconds from his first star power. Angelo survives for 30.7 seconds, and that puts him in 24th place. Next, we have the auto aim test. Angelo is able to hit Nita from 5 tiles away with an auto aim, which is actually pretty decent for a sharpshooter. But since you actually charge his attack by just holding down the fire button, if you don't aim it, you can technically auto aim a fully charged attack. So Angelo deals 4,400 damage from 5 tiles away. That puts him in 23rd place. Up next, we have the splash test. Now, Angelo takes a moment to prepare. He has his super ready, activates his gadget, drops his super, and then goes back and fires a fully charged shot to finish off the left half of the boxes. Then he charges up another full shot, activates his second gadget again to clear the rest of the boxes. It takes him 7.3 seconds to get rid of all these boxes, which puts him in 22nd place for this splash test. Up next, we have the boss test. Angelo starts out by charging up 2 full attacks so he can charge up his super and drop it, and then it's just a mixture of repeatedly charging up his super and dropping it and then firing a fully charged arrow at it so that it deals maximum poison damage as well. This process repeats over and over again, and he's able to get rid of the boss in 25.7 seconds, which ties him with Maisie for 21st. That's actually a lot of damage over a long period of time. Next, we have the attack range test. Now, Angelo's reticle doesn't quite reach 10 tiles, but his arrow actually goes a little bit further past it, and it does reach 10 whole tiles. With his attack stretching 10 tiles long, Angelo ties with 8-Bit, Colt, Brock, and Bell for 18th place. That is a very long-ranged attack, especially for somebody who can deal so much damage with a single hit. Next, we have the race test, and Angelo has a very fast movement speed, which is something none of the other sharpshooters have. His gadget also helps him a bit in this test, and he's able to use it twice before he crosses the finish line. Angelo completes the race test in 9 seconds, so he ties with Edgar, El Primo, and Rico for 14th place. Next, we have the super damage test, and as I mentioned before, Angelo's super lasts for 8 seconds. So 1,000 damage for 8 seconds, that's 8,000 damage. That puts him in 10th place. He has the 10th highest damaging super in the game, although most people aren't going to be standing long enough to experience all that damage. Next, we have the reload test. Now, Angelo fires a single shot just like B and Carl, but he doesn't have an ammo bar to reload at all. Even though they're all very weak, it takes him 8.4 seconds to get 10 shots off, so he ends up with a reload speed of 0.84, which is kind of crazy. He gets 5th place. But next, we have his best test by far, the 3-attack kill test. If Angelo's standing in his poison cloud, a fully charged arrow deals 1,100 extra poison damage for 4 seconds. That totals 8,800 damage with his single shot, including all of his poison and everything like that. So even though it does take him a long time since the poison damage doesn't really stack, he can deal 26,400 damage with 3 attacks. That puts him in 1st place overall, and none of the other brawlers even compete. It's not even close. Obviously, most brawlers are able to unload 3 attacks a lot quicker, but it goes to prove just how much damage he can do with a single shot. Now that we've compared Angelo to every other brawler in the game, the real question is, how strong is he actually going going to be. When it comes to gem grab, I'm going to go with A tier. I could see Angelo being pretty good for carrying gems, mostly because of how much damage he can do at such a long range, and he has a fast movement speed, making it easier, or a very fast movement speed, making it easier for him to escape. Now, his super may not be the best at dealing with assassins, but it's at least something, and a fully charged shot is still dealing a lot of damage, even to aggro brawlers that are right next to him. Plus, his first gadget is a great ability for getting out of sketchy situations and staying safe. So yeah, I think A tier makes a lot of sense for him. Next, we have Brawl Ball, and I'm going to go with the B tier, like maybe useful. Having only one ammo is always nice for Brawl Ball because you don't have to wait to reload in order to shoot or pass the ball. That being said, I don't think that there's a single Brawl Ball map that has any water on it, so the hovering trait's going to be totally useless in this game mode, but I do think that Angelo is just a strong brawler overall, so I've got to give him at least B tier for right now. Heist may not be Angelo's best game mode either, so we're going to go with B tier. That's to be said, on the right map, where very long-range brawlers can actually thrive, then he, I think, will do well. Even though his attack can deal insane damage, especially with his super, fully charging each of his attacks reduces his rate of fire a lot. His attack can also be easily blocked by obstacles or pets, and even brawlers if they need to be, so like it might be difficult for him to do lots of damage to the safe specifically. But overall, very strong, and on the right map, he might actually be pretty good, so we'll go with B tier. Next, we have Bounty. Absolute S tier brawler in Bounty. Angelo looks like he'll be another classic long-range Bounty sharpshooter. He has all of the range he needs to compete with other good Bounty brawlers, and if he can land a fully charged shot while inside his super, 8,800 damage will literally one-shot most of the brawlers in the game, especially the sharpshooters that don't have a whole lot of HP. There's also a few maps where his second star power will make him extremely hard to hit, so definitely S tier for Bounty. Next is Hot Zone, and I'm going to go with A tier. Once again, I think that Angelo's range and damage alone are going to make him pretty good in a Hot Zone. His super can't really cover as much of the zone as some of the other brawlers can, but it's still some decent area control, which means that he can drop it when he's escaping, and then that will prevent enemies from actually going into the zone for 8 whole seconds. That's pretty useful. And him having a very fast movement speed is more important than I think that a lot of people realize when you're in the zone and need to dodge attacks. Just remember Shelly going from straight up F tier because she had a normal movement speed, then getting very fast movement speed and completely breaking the game, right? Like very fast. That's an insane movement speed for a sharpshooter. So A tier, I think, is at least warranted somewhat. Next, we have Knockout. I mean, once again, another S tier. Definitely the same reasons so that he's going to be good in Bounty. He's going to be amazing in Knockout. Being able to one-shot most brawlers with a single shot is pretty much as good as it gets in Knockout. It will take him a little bit for him to charge up his super, so that's not guaranteed to happen very often. But man, when it does, it's game over, right? Like he might lose the first round, then win the next 2 rounds just because his super is charged up. Even when the smoke starts rolling in, he's still dealing all of his damage at close range. So S tier for sure. Next, we have Solo Showdown. And you know what? I'm gonna go with B tier for Solo Showdown. Range is always really good for Showdown, and his first gadget's gonna be good for getting away from assassins and bush campers, and he can also break open the boxes fairly quickly, but he's just really fragile to be in the S tier, and he does just too little damage very quickly. He can't burst people down. If they can withstand his first shot, then they're gonna be able to have plenty of time to get away because it takes time for him to charge up his attack. It's very much like Hank in those situations as well, because guess what? He cannot heal while he's charging up his attack. So he's going to be in a really difficult situation where he has to just fall back and let enemies attack him while he's trying to heal up. Next, we have Duo Showdown, and I'm going to go with B tier for Duo Showdown as well. In fact, I think he'll be a little bit worse in Duo Showdown because I mean, even if he takes somebody out, it's very likely that his opponents are going to have an opportunity to like see that they're going to die, then run to a safe spot and wait while, you know, Angelo's just there charging up his attacks. Like, they're gonna be able to escape pretty well. And the fact that his super doesn't actually positively impact his teammate means that he's not gonna get value from it quite as much from having a teammate, right? Plus, his attack can only hit one target at a time, so I think he'll be slightly worse in Duo Showdown, but not so bad that he's not going to be somewhat good in the mode, or somewhat useful, right? A brawler has to be pretty awful to just not be at least B tier in Showdown. Angelo has the strongest attack in the game, but it looks like it's going to take a good amount of skill to put it to use. So I'm excited to see what good players can do with him. You're going to have to wait to know exactly how strong he is for in the next tier list. But let me know what your thoughts are on Angelo in the comment section and whether or not you're more excited for Angelo or Melody, which I'm going to be doing a sneak peek video for her soon. Subscribe for it. You don't want to miss it.
Oh, I won't bite, but I will buzz. Time to spill the tea. Look at my fabulous wings. Rocking the bougie bayou aesthetic. Giving Cupid core. Fierce, fabulous, and fly. Looking for a snack. Oh, breathe in the awesomeness. Take a deep breath. And breathe. Just keep breathing. Toxic Tears by Angelo. Presenting Bayou Breeze by Angelo. Finally, some drama. Sashay away. Oh, sickening. Flutter and fly off to the sky. Oh, I am so done. I'll be back. More fabulous than ever. You made a fly cry. Ah! Oh, no, you didn't. I can't even. You need to leave. You're flirting with danger, darling. That was sketchy. Buzz off, baby. I'm buzzing, baby. Ow! Oh, it's all love. Hey, I'm just winging it. You got served. Oh, boo-hoo. Dry your tears, honey. Getting stomped in the swamp. Love struck. Oh, honey. Hashtag winging. Hush mode. Half human, half fly. All fabulous. Oh, I'm fierce and I'm fly. You just wish you were me. OMG, this is so boring. Some drama, please. Oh, main character vibes. Rainbow Rampage. Up, up, up. All eyes on me. I am the drama. I'm here to slay. Get out of my way.